So I know genuinely we're probably all a little bit chilly, so we'll kind of take our time to move around, check in before we start doing anything, relatively extreme. And if we need to, for our friends outside, Maxine,
Right.
do something from a not floor perspective, because sometimes a floor can radiate some not so nice temperatures. We can try and find other versions of things if that feels better. But we're going to start with three times through for our sort of warm up activation piece of eight Supermans, eight per side bird dog crunches, which, excuse me, we've done before. So it's not complicated. We've done these before, but we can find an alternative if we need to. And I said eight good mornings or Romanian deadlifts. So you don't have to deadlift. It could just be a nice hamstring prep piece. So you can decide weight or not on this one. Um, we're then going to do some Bulgarian split squats, eight per side, three sets. I want you resting between sets minimum. So right, left, rest. You can, however, rest between legs if you'd like to. I did write increasing complexity or load, right? So it gets more complex as you carry the weight higher up on your body. The more weight you carry, and load, of course, just increase the weight if that's something you're able to do and it makes sense for you. And then finally, we have three times through non-alternating cossac squats. I said weight optional. And then 10 Superman to the W pull, and then 10 seated overhead press. I realized we did some. Essentially, the Superman is just the hold in this position. We're just working the upper back. Um, Again, I have an alternative to this if we need to make that the case. Excellent. Let's start with some cat cows. See how we're feeling. Um, if it's feeling a little rough, that's okay. It is chilly. I turn the heat on, which doesn't happen often. Frankly, given the temperature and the time, if you feel inclined to, I would say, drop into child's pose at the 10th one, I wouldn't be upset. It's not a requirement, but that's what my body's begging for. So if you want to add it in, go for it. Once you've completed your cat cows, let's move into our bird dog. So this is the no crunch version. We're just going to go ahead, find our balance. Right. The arm is optional. I want to focus on the legs. Imagine a glass of water on your low back. And hopefully it shouldn't spill. Arm as a bonus. You're welcome to add any, I would say, additional pieces to your warm up. I'm just kind of going through our full body check-in. After that, let's get our 90-90s. So we're gonna sit on our butt, nice, I would say, comfortable stance. I'm gonna have my hands behind me, shift my weight to my right. You can go left. And just seeing how hips are firing today or not, or how they're feeling, tight or not tight. If you're hypermobile, don't push into this one. Just stop somewhere where it feels like mid-range. There are 10 of these. I've already stopped counting naturally. So when you get to 10, okay, lovely. Let's go ahead and start talking about the kind of core work activation stuff, and then we'll kind of work into it. We have Superman's. This is more just the right, the movement. We're working on extension, the chest up. I like to make sure my toes are together and my hands are. It's okay if I don't mind if they're in a Y shape or an I shape. That's not important to me, but I want my elbows straight if possible. It's kind of an overhead position. I'll go diagonally. I'm a little tall for the room at the moment, so I'll be going that way. Um, I want your toes together, your thumbs up, and we're going for height and length. So my toes are together, my thumbs are up. I'm going for height and length. I'm gonna go lift, and I'm reaching for the edges of my living room and then back to right. So my butt squeezed, I'm braced. I feel a little bit here, but I also feel it right in my belly and in other parts of my body. So if it's only your low back, probably a little weird. Maybe just shorten the range of motion, squeeze your butt, brace your belly before you lift. Again, that lengthening versus height. That can take the low back out of this a little bit. The next thing we have is 8% bird dog crunches, which we've done before. Essentially, it's your bird dog, but this is 8 non-alternating, 8 per side. And that is when I extend a left leg, my right arm, and then I bring my knee to elbow, elbow to knee. You can go across if you want, that's fine. Right? So across or forward. We're doing 8 per side. Just a little bit of balance, a little flexion of the spine. And then finally, we have our good mornings or Romanian deadlifts. So a nice active stretch where we stand, right? And either hands behind your head, just a nice, stretch back here, right? Weight in front is optional, or of course we have I'm gonna use a dumbbell here, but you can use anything you like. You can have your Romanian deadlifts, right? So something a little more loaded, but that doesn't need to be the case if that's not for you. Okay. So everything is eight reps total or 8 per side. We'll do that 3 times, starting with your Supermans. Again, if you can find a standing variation. Good. You can hold the top of that Superman or not. Just your little extension. Keep those toes together, your butt squeezed. After 8 of those, go into your bird dog crunches. Personally, not that you have to, I like to stay on one side because I find switching to be a little bit cumbersome, but you're welcome to alternate them if that works for you. Eight reps per arm and leg position, followed by 8 good mornings or Romanian deadlifts. Good. Good. Get that chest up a little more, Joseph. So slightly less forward fold, a little more chest up deadlifty. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, so not quite touch your toes to the floor. Right. Yeah, nice job. So more, and then again, if you don't feel a stretch, quotations, stretch in the hamstring or kind of anywhere behind you, that's okay. I just want to make sure as we reach forward, right, the torso isn't collapsing, right? This is alluding to a deadlift position versus let's say like touching our toes, right? The hands behind that is just to open up the chest. So if you prefer like a broomstick, some people like a back rack position, um, that's fine. But by no means, um, right, do you need to adopt that position if it's causing some stuff. Discomfort. Good. Not that anyone needs to, but if you do need to add in some core temperature increase pieces, you can, on this one, you can add in some jumping jacks, some, I don't know, just something to kind of get things moving. If you're inside, slightly different, but if you're in a poorly insulated garage, we might need a little more help, and that's okay, right? But if moving is feeling good. Also, if you're not if you're walking heater, then you should be fine. I am not a walking heater. But we're doing this 3 times. So resting is needed, although you probably don't need a ton of rest here, but it is okay to take some breaks. And you may alternate those good mornings and Romanian deadlifts. So if you start with good mornings and you're like, I'm feeling pretty good, adding in a Romanian deadlift is great. Right? But there's no need to switch unless you want to. I was gonna say, if you have the opportunity or I said the ability to use a barbell as well, that's an option, but not a requirement for the good mornings. But that's never been my personal favorite, so tend not to do it. You need to, Maxine, but I know you like sort of front loading that good morning. You're welcome to do that. It's an option. That feels like something you want to do. It doesn't need to be super heavy. Nice work. I know some of us work on a slightly different speeds. That's okay, right? We'll just move through final sets of good mornings or Romanian deadlifts. I'll talk about part B again, just as a reminder. I know we just kind of hinged, right? Sort of deadlift shape. We're going to squat again. So before we take this as single leg, we'll just check um, how our squats feel with 2 feet first, right? Kind of check in on that position before we put you on one leg and hope for the best. Um, so when you're ready and able, I'd like to see 10 body weight squats. Okay. Nothing crazy. Don't worry about how deep you're going. I just want to see in squat shapes how you're feeling, right? Feet shoulder width apart. Hip, I say hip or shoulder, relative, right? Um, from the side, moving backwards. Again, whatever depth feels good to you. I know we're in a lot of clothes here, but I'm trying to stay braced. Um, Toes and heels flat on the ground. Just seeing what your body is telling you. Again, if you're not hitting depth or you're feeling a little weird or creaky or something, that's okay. Right? Let's do 10 of them just to check in. 2-footed first. Right? Good. Um, for your split squat today, if you need to keep the foot down on the ground because balance is not feeling great, or you just want to add more weight, when I add weight, I prefer typically a foot down. I've gone better with foot up, the Bulgarian split squat specifically. But I want a single leg squat variation as long as that feels like a good idea for you. So ultimately, whether you're carrying two weights, right? You're carrying maybe one, maybe you're carrying the weight at your chest, so higher up. Maybe you're carrying it here. I mean, you don't have to. You can hold it overhead if you want to, but my point is the higher up the body you get, right? And if you're carrying two weights versus one, it gets more complicated. So I want you to pick either typically one load or complexity first. And if that feels like, let's keep going. Let's increase one of those two things again. You'll have 3 sets of this. 8 is still a fair amount here. And it's a full stop, so it's a full controlled position. So if I'm trying to get my whole body in here. One moment. Okay, so if I'm squatting, I'm going to do my right leg. Okay, so it's forward. Right, I have my back foot on my couch. I tend to like my foot this way, but you can have your foot flexed. I don't mind which one. And as a reminder, a gentle reminder, you can kind of set up roughly by sitting down, extending your leg, and this gives you a guideline. But again, if you need to put your foot down, that's fine. This is my squat leg. I'll have weights in hand. I could have weight here, whatever it is. That weight stays over this leg. So wherever I'm carrying it, it doesn't matter, but it stays over my standing leg. And my hips move back, and my knee still is tracking over my toes. And I want to basically have you 8 reps per leg. If the foot stays down, same thing. We're just going to go split stance it this way, right? Or this way. Right? So playing with both complexity and load, but let's do one thing at a time. So only by increasing one of those things at a time, you can add to that as you're going along. 3 sets, 8 per leg. After you've done right and left, assuming you have 2 legs to do it on, I want you to go ahead and rest. I would say at least a minute, right? Even if it doesn't feel particularly strenuous, stopping at the bottom, standing up. Yeah, and that is a guideline, Carrie. So that sort of it's sort of a gentle guideline. You might have to make some micro adjustments to that setup, but that gives you a ballpark when you set up for your split squats. I may be wrong, Arisa, so tell me if you don't have to change your position. If your knee is moving first, I want your hip to move first. Meaning, even if my foot's down, so instead of this, yeah, I still want a little bit of this first, then down. It's not right or wrong. Just takes pressure off the knee. Yeah, good. There you go. Good. And if you're ever doing this, obviously we're sort of doing this on our own, you can always look in the mirror and see, or take a video. I mean, if resting too long, Maxine, makes you cold, you can keep moving.
Actually, I'm warm now.
Good, good, good. Like resting is, yeah, the thing is, right, I say rest. But I'm assuming most of us are, if you can increase weight or complexity, that's great, but that's not always an option. In a traditional gym setting, we'd be adding weight, and that's where I'd want the rest to be happening, basically. And if you know you have a call lucky fin, a leg that is not quite as stable, that's okay. Personally like start on that leg. I kind of get it done and over with. Like, whew, great, right? I kind of confirm the weight or that position is something I can do on my more challenging side. And then by the time I switch sides, I'm like, I've got this. Some people like to wait till the very end and hope it works, which is also fine. Same thing, Carrie. If you feel like the knee has to start because you don't have an option, go ahead, take like a baby step forward. Yeah. So if you're too close to your object, sometimes the knee has to move forward first. Yeah, it's gonna feel awkwardly far away. That's okay. Yeah, there we go. We're gonna still treat this like a squat, right? So you're essentially squatting on your left leg, so your belly button can stay over your feet. That's kind of the way I think about it. Yeah, let's take the weight out. That's fine. You guys take your hands out like a tightrope walker. Yeah, there we go. That's it. That's great.
Oh, there's in our bathroom on the drying rack.
Yeah, good. Yep, take your time, find your balance. And if you need to be, I would say, if you have the option to be near a wall, or speaking of broomsticks, grab a broomstick, that's okay. I like to have that in my opposite hand. So if I'm standing on my right leg to squat, I'll have the stick or my wall to my left so I can kind of stick my hand out and use it. Nice job. Good. Again, it's okay to drop the back foot if you need to,
This is,
right? What was that, Carrie?
oh no, it's just extra fun today.
Yeah, sometimes
My
balance.
my legs are not balancing as well as they normally do.
Yeah, that's so balance may or may not feel good day to day. And sometimes that challenge feels like a good challenge, and sometimes it's like it's too much. You're like, I just want to get this stuff done. I don't need to deal with this right now. That's when the foot can come down, grab a little bigger weight, basically. And I say bigger weight, grab a bag of cookbooks. You know, like, okay, for me, it's cookbooks. Whatever your heavy object of choice happens to be, that can be the case. Good. So keep the belly button over your standing leg. So your torso can actually come forward, right? Yeah. In your brain, imagine, there you go. Imagine a two-footed squat, and that balance over your squat leg is what we're going for. So the back leg is less effective, and it should be. Um, good. Okay. Lovely. Looks like that's fine, Carrie. Can you roll through if you need to
I
switch?
gotta roll. I've got one half left. Carry on.
That's fine. Carry on. Don't mind me. No, no. The Queen's wave. Oh, sorry, the King's wave now, I guess. Excuse me. We'll still call it the Queen's wave because she's the OG, let's be honest. Okay, so here's the deal. Our next piece, we have non-alternating cossack squats. So that's our lateral squat shape. I said weight is optional because it is. And this is one where the inseam, so right, sort of this knee to sort of groin gets a little bit of a stretch. So if you need to check, you're not sure if your body's ready for a lateral shape, you can always take a tabletop position, kick your leg to the side. If this is a stretch, great. At least you know. If it's not, you can rotate that foot up. And then I'm rocking this. We're just kind of checking in. This is an option. So I'm rocking my hip back if I have the room. It's okay if the answer is no. But this gives you a guideline for what your inseam can tolerate. All joking aside, don't pull a groin. It's not funny. It's quite painful. So that's just your kind of your check. Or you can do this one. We've done this one before. We're here, squeeze this butt, and then just kind of lean the opposite way. And this is the way we can kind of check in with that bottom inseam, right? So similar idea, slightly less intense. Nikki Brown's coming to say goodbye. Can you say goodbye, everybody?
Hi, Nikki Brown.
They don't see your face. Hi. Okay. Go away. See you later. Um, okay, so we have the non-alternating specifically, cossack squats. So without weight, right? I have a wider stance, right? Nothing crazy big, but a little, so my squat stance is here, I would say. I'm gonna be a little more here, right? I tend to toe out, that's fine. But you can go toes forward. That's up to you. And then from here, a little higher up. From the side, I'm gonna go towards you. I'm gonna go ahead and imagine this is my squat leg. And then come back up, right? So I'm just coming back to the middle. So from the front, right, I can carry weight in my chest, but it feels like this knee is still tracking over these toes and come back up. I can rotate this foot if I want, that's fine. Once you have 10 on one side, we'll go 10 to the other side. Again, I'm rotating my foot up, but that's a choice. It's not a requirement. So if you want to weight in hand, right? Here, shoulders, whatever. My belly button, right, is still over my squat leg. Good. And when you come back to the middle, right? We're still going back to middle. We're not like shifting over. So if I'm going this way for 10, right? I'm not kind of popping this hip. I'm just going back to center. Great. If it helps to alternate, you can alternate. It's okay to send the hips a little behind you. So it's a little hamstring, just a little, nothing crazy. It also allows the torso to balance over the toes, right? So if the knee is leading this and the ankles stop you, that's where we can. So instead of this, be like, I'm stuck. It could be here, right? So, and belly button over toes, and that's okay. That's a balanced position. It is okay to rest between legs as well, right? So if you're not alternating.
Did you say 8 per side?
10.
10.
Like I said, so the weight here is optional for a reason because the volume is a little bit higher. This is considered today, technically our accessory work, but you can of course make it as heavy as you want to make it. Still sitting back just like your Bulgarian split squats carry, so just a little hamstring. Yeah. So the torso can kind of gently lean as long as you feel balanced. Yeah, that's good. Again, weight is optional. Once you've done 10 per side, we have our Superman W pull. So this is that idea where we're gonna keep, in this case, let's keep the toes down, unlike our Supermans at the beginning. So again, your Superman is a base position. Okay, it's not meant to be anything else. And I'll give you a standing variation for anyone who's getting up and down to the ground is a bit of a pain. So that is, as I'm down here, okay, my toes are gonna stay down. My thumbs, again, I'm gonna do a little Y shape because I'm too tall for the room. I'm gonna be here, right? And I'm gonna go ahead and lift my chest, keep my toes down, and then bring my elbows to my hips. They're not gonna touch. I'm back. So I'm lifting up my chest as I pull back, letting it gently fall to the floor. We're doing that 10 times. If we need to do a row instead, okay, we don't want to be on the floor. That's fine. Yeah. You can also do one of these. Hands on shoulders or knees, excuse me. Here. Right? Hand on bench. Whatever range of motion feels best for people. Okay. Let's do 10 total, excuse me, if you're doing the W's. If you're doing single arm or if we're doing a row, we can do 2 arms or 1. Using the lats as we pull for using the dumbbell. So under the armpit. I'm thinking elbows to hip. It's not really going to go that far. That's where I think. And if you're looking from the side on, I would say either of those positions. So either the pull down this way or the pull this way. Okay. The shoulder should not be in front of the chest. Not that. Okay. Basically. Not right now. Once you have your 10 per side, you're doing the rows or 10 total, we have a seated overhead press. Seated can be on the floor. That's called a Z press. We can sit on something a little higher. That's slightly less challenging. Or we can do sort of a kneeling position. And we can do this 1 arm at a time. If it needs to be 1 arm, it could also be 2. So I'm seated, right? My weight is on my shoulder. I'm going to go 1 arm because I feel like it. I'm going to go ahead and press my weight overhead. My bicep is next to my ears. If that range of motion is a no, go as far as you can, or you can do isometric hold where you feel best. Again, shoulder is still behind or in line with my chest. So we can do a hold for 10 seconds, come down. We'll only do that 3 or 4 times. If you are able to press overhead, staying braced, great. If you want to do both, by all means, you can do both, right? Two weights is significantly more challenging than one. So technically you guys are doing a Z press, right? When your bum's on the floor. We want slightly, if this, you can't sit flat on the ground, you're not taking Joseph's yoga classes on Monday. It's okay to sit a little bit higher, or I like to have clients sit on a little couple inches. You can still be on the ground, but the legs can sit flat if you have really, really, really tight hamstrings, right? Once you have your 10, if you're doing single-sided, that's per side. If you're doing two, okay, that's 10 total. We're gonna go back to the top of that list, which is your cossack squats. Okay, so the next round will be a little more, I would say, your own tempo. If you have any questions on any of the movements, don't be afraid to ask. Good. If lateral squatting for any reason is not feeling good, and you are not present to ask questions, you can make this a good old-fashioned goblet squat. 2 feet, two-footed, singular weight, up and down. Simplify. Yeah. So, not that you have to, Joseph, but if you want something a little more, I'd say complex, perhaps more motor control involved, an option, not a requirement. This would still be non-alternating. So you'll have your weight. I'll have one weight, okay? I'm going to step that direction. So I'm going to step, come back, right? Step, find my balance, cause a squat, and come back. So it's part mobility. Yeah. I like to hold, in this case, this weight can be down. We can reduce the complexity because we're increasing motor control. We can do that instead. That's sort of I would say, the next step, right? That would be your increased complexity piece, right? Yeah. We still want it to the side though, not front. Yep. So pressing overhead, again, just making sure the weight is appropriate. So when we're going overhead, we're going to go much lighter than, let's say, if you do a dumbbell bench press or any horizontal pressing. And also range of motion, feeling safe. So if it's not fully over, that's okay. Let's put it this way. If you struggle with Supermans, lifting your arms off the ground, this will be a challenge. And that's okay. At least we know. Good. With your Superman W, the pulls, you're more than welcome to keep the feet on or off of the ground for that. So it can be more just upper back movement or feet and upper back. I'll leave that open to, well, you can do both. Good. Same thing, resting when needed, between sides, between sets, both. So, with colder, at least I'll speak for myself. When the temperature tends to go down, my hydration also tends to go with it because I don't feel like I need it as much as doing heat. So often when I'm looking to take a break and I don't want to, I'm like, I don't need it. But I think I do, I'll go ahead and grab water I ask clients to grab water a lot because it stops them from lifting the weights again. I'm like, go grab some water. And they walk over the water bottle. Yeah, there you go. So slightly less forward, Joseph, a little more just directly to your side, just like you were before. Yeah. And then to keep that range of motion as you go more lateral becomes less because it's kind of harder. Yeah, good. Grab your water. Even better if you put it far away from you, so you have to go walk to it, you know. Good. If any of you have done a lat pull down before on a machine, that's kind of what these Superman W pulls are referring to, or sort of say alluding to. I'm aware there's nothing pulling inherently, but if you've done a lat pull down, that's kind of the general ethos, intention of the movement. If anything, a little extension of the back while staying braced is also a good thing because I'm fairly sure in my very recent adventures, that's how you swim. Meg can correct me on that one, but I'm fairly sure that's your body position when you're swimming. Is this. So it's part of how you swim. Well, we're doing this 3 times through, and then we'll do a quick kind of check-in, see how we're feeling. Nice job. Again, 2 weights is more complex than one. But we're going to change complexity or weight, not both at the same time. Unless you have extremely light weights, and in which case you could typically do both. How's your shoulders, Maxine? Are good?
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like I've got a lot more range of motion again all of
Yeah.
a sudden. So
Yeah. I know overhead pressing feels a little bit, I would say tangential to what you guys do. I know you use more of pulling, right, than pushing. Um, but whether it's an isometric hold somewhere
mhm,
in this press shape, right? Because holds tend to be relatively safe, right? You can be like, okay, this feels good. I can hold that position. I can hold this position, whatever that shoulder can tolerate. Isometric holds tend to be a nice in between step to full range of motion if
yeah.
it's not currently available. It's also for if you have an unstable joint. So whether it's injury, hypermobility, or both, or any other reason, it's a place where you can actually actively stabilize something and just hold it in a range of motion that feels safe. And then eventually we'll increase that range of motion over
Mhm.
time. So isometric holds are generally a pretty solid option. And you're still getting the benefit of holding a weight, which is cool.
Yeah.
And that doesn't just apply to your overhead, but any position you find a little bit challenging. Um, so as a whole, temperatures are dropping for us, relatively speaking. I know we're all kind of all over the country. Depends where you are. So just stay hydrated. This is the usual. I'm trying to do my best here, but I don't have a single drop of water. My cup of coffee is all I've had so far. So I'll grab my water. A little extra recovery. Go for a walk, maybe a little stretching while you're still warm. So with our remaining time, I'm happy to run through some stuff. But if you would like an extra 10 minutes on your day, because that would feel like a better option, that's fine by all means. Otherwise, I'll run like at least a 5 minute kind of cool down stretch to loosen things up while we're internally toasty. Okay, if you can do that. But if you have to go, I wish you the best of luck, a good week, and I'm open to any questions you may have. Or hello, goodbye. Bye bye.
Good
I'm gonna
week,
head out.
everyone.
Thanks,
Thank
Kirstie.
you.
Bye,
Bye.
everyone.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Oh, sure. Very Hawaiian.
Oh, okay. Well,
It's
I
up to you.
I was gonna say I can stick around for cool down to
But
get
if you want to, I'm into it.
if you
So go ahead. What was that?
oh, I said yeah, if you could that would be great. It's much more fun with company than trying to just walk around by myself.
Yeah, it's like I'll stretch. Says nobody. Um, I don't. I'm like, why would I do that? Unless my clients are like, I'm stiff. I'm like, me too. Okay, so let's start with the hips, right? So we can do, I like to kind of start kind of called tall kneeling, right? I'll just take my right leg first.
Okay.
I'm just gonna go ahead and just check in with this, right? If now this is not you, we happen to have a couch, okay? But this is your I'm in the middle of a room stretch, right? My butt squeezed, so I'm standing up tall, standing, whatever, kneeling. And then if I have room, maybe I'll lean forward. But I'm going for a stretch down the front of my leg. Okay? My butt squeeze just stops me from doing this, being like, I am so good at this stretch. Look how good I am, right? I want the butt squeezed. Okay. Pelvis is kind of tucked gently forward. Then maybe you lean forward. That's it, right? That feels pretty good. Excellent. Let's kind of shift back. We're getting this opposite hamstring now. My hands are going to reach for the floor. So as my hips move back, my hands move forward. Again, if you need yoga blocks or, a sofa next to you, that's okay. What that might look like if you need assistance, and you can say where you are, Risa, but just for anyone who's not sure what I mean by that, is as I'm sitting backwards, I have my sofa next to me or my thing, and I can just hang on to this if I can't touch the ground, right? Because my hamstrings are super tight. That's okay. I can just hang on to my support object. We'll switch sides, of course. So after, let's say 3 to 5 of those. Same thing. Oh, to my left side a lot. My right side is not feeling so good. Okay. I do this thing where I demonstrate on one side all day. And one leg's like, feel weird. Because all I've done is either stretched or done a single leg movement on one leg. So I have to be a little more cautious about which leg I'm doing. Squeeze, gentle. And again, that lean is an option. This movement is an option. Sometimes that butt squeeze is enough. For those of us with a couch, because we have one, it's literally called a couch stretch. And you're going to see why. This is going to add a little intensity. So I'm going to start at kind of basically a tabletop position. I'm going to get my knee, I say near the couch. When you see this on the internet, people are going to ram their knee into the edge of this corner. I'm not that guy because I'm stiff. So I'm a little farther away. Okay. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to kind of take this sort of weird split stance, squeeze in this case my right butt cheek. So I'm bringing my hip towards the floor, sort of opening this hip. My left leg is going to come into a kneeling position, if I can, right? This is my first step. If I can do this, and I'm feeling okay, I'm going to go ahead and start to bring myself up. Now, if I can't, same thing, yoga blocks here are great. You can't see it, I'll show you. My rib cage is down as opposed to this. Yeah. All right. So if the hip's behind you, it's a bit of a farce. I want the hip relatively forward and that butt squeezed. All right. And that's not it. Some of us are gonna be like, I'm here. This is gonna be my couch stretch. And that's fine if that's your couch stretch. For some of us, we're gonna be up, right? Again, rib cage is down. I know I'm wearing a big sweatshirt. So this is sort of an extreme version or a step up from this guy, right? So this is just a kind of, I wouldn't do this last one we did first thing in the morning. That's a bit mean. And you're asking for, um, you're asking for some opinions. This knee, however, does not like, so my knees are sensitive. So if you need something under your kneecap for this, particularly that back one, put a pillow, as needed. or a sweatshirt. Okay, I might double up my mat. That's actually feeling pretty gnarly today. Not sure why. Need a little more.
I have my industrial mat underneath. So
Yeah, I have my knees are well, they're better, but they feel old, right? Older than my body. Um, and sometimes certain positions don't feel great on a hard surface. I don't tolerate it as well as I used to, right? See, I even caught myself doing this. I was like, right, it'd still be up, right? So it depends on what position you buy. If you tend to buy as a flex position like this, we're gonna lengthen. If you tend to lengthen, we're gonna the opposite. Right, so that's your couch stretch. And finally, right, what do we do today? Pressed, hold. Let's go ahead and either a good old-fashioned child pose, or if you prefer a slightly more elevated position, we can kind of do the hands, the tabletop, right? Hands on couch. Right, this one. That's fine too. So we have this version. We also have this version because this might feel nicer. If you're doing child pose, let's go ahead and take a step. So I'm going to walk my hands to the left.
okay.
So let's say 11 o'clock on my clock. I'm going to stretch my right side here. You can even do this if you're on a flat surface like I do with the couch. Go back to 12. Let's go to 1 o'clock. So I'm going stepping to the right, stretching my left. I'm going to come back center. Good. This should all hopefully feel, let's put it this way, as you're stretching or rolling out or getting any sort of, even if you're getting any sort of manual therapy done to you, you should be able to breathe in through your nose and fully exhale through your mouth, like a longer exhale than the inhale. That means that discomfort's fine. It's okay. If it's a, how's that feel like? It feels great. That your body is giving you a sign it's not loving the pressure, the range of motion. You can back off on that, right? Finally, let's go a little glute stretch. So we can do figure four here. You can just laying down or seated, Arisa. So this is one of those, or anyone who's quote here. So I'm going to cross my leg over. This will be stretching this one. Okay. This might be it. If you don't love holding yourself up, you could do this seated on a couch. Okay. So think men in suit pants. You know what I'm talking about? The one where they can't cross their legs, this one? That.
Yes.
Yeah. Pants don't stretch like that, at least not formal ones, unfortunately. So that's also, so figure four, whether you're seated on the ground, on the couch. The other option, if you feel inclined, is if you're like, you know, I'm feeling pretty good. And I'm like, hey, you can add to the stretch by bringing this foot towards you. You're still like, don't feel it so much. Okay. Lay down. Reach through your four, right? Not around, right? Gently grab the back of your leg. And then maybe just, I would say I let the weight of my leg do the work. I'm not actually pulling a ton. I can just let this go. But you can, if you feel inclined, pull, right? You get, at least for me, stretch here. Kind of lateral hip, glute, whatever. Kind of the whole thing. But it's case on. Again, something anyway, you should be able to breathe in through your nose, out through your mouth. I'm going to switch sides because I feel like I've gotten a good dose. Yeah. This knee could do whatever it needs. So if you don't love flexing the knee this much, put a pillow, put your arm, it'll kind of stop it from dropping into like super deep knee flexion if that feels not great. When you're on both sides. I don't say equally, but I would say treat the side that is feeling, let's say, tighter or more tension.
Okay.
Lovely.
All right.
I wish you a good rest of your day,
Thank you. You too.
and I will hopefully see you next week.
All right. See you
Bye,
next.
Lisa.
Take care. All right. Bye bye.